I recently was up in Trail, Madam Speaker, and I met with some workers that worked in the smelter up in Trail, and I think there are about 36 of them that have active cases. I think 35 now, one just passed away. Some of them are spending their last years of their lives in extreme pain and extreme agony.
My name is Doug Jones. I'm the president of Local 480, United Steelworkers in Trail. The following video is a testimony from only a small portion of BC. Asbestos exposures are relevant all through BC. They're in factories, in schools, hospitals, ferries, shipyards, and all through the building trades. This issue is something that should concern all of us here in BC.
Asbestos was a miracle ore that was pulled from the ground that was found to be fire protective or preventive. It was used in brake shoe linings. It's used in boilers. It's used in. It was used as sort of this preventative new formula for preventing fires, and it's used in shingles in old houses. It was used in lots of different applications. What has happened over the years is many workers have become exposed to it and exposed to high degrees of it.
Especially in the carpenter shop, I cut the asbestos came like a 4x8 sheets of plywood. And I made the insulating blocks for the old malting room. And cutting this material on a saw, lots of dust.
Up there were quite a mess, but we got into a lot of stuff I guess we shouldn't have.
And those were to go between
the bus bars in the malting room.
Right.
Those blocks was the form of the insulating blocks they call. So the bars will not burn each other.
Yeah.
So you have to make those blocks had to be made precise so they would fit.
Some of those buildings up there were from the original ones. We were tearing down and redoing. So you didn't really know what you were getting into. But we got into it. It had to be done.
I had some pretty dirty jobs, factory truck, and water blasting, and then of course sweeping the streets and stuff. You're always eating all the dust and stuff off the streets.
And how long did you do that particular job for?
Oh, about 2-3 times a month. And because when they needed it, they put an order in, and we had to do it, and I was the one doing it.
Yeah. And over how many years?
Oh, 20 years.
20 years, yeah.
What asbestos does is it cuts the linings, it cuts the lungs into small scars into the lungs. The scar tissue heals, which causes a contracting of the lungs, which gives you less lung capacity and damages the air sacs in the lungs. So it's a very painful death. And when you get cancer from asbestos, mesothelioma, it's an extremely painful and it's a terminal disease. There's no cure for it.
I've been diagnosed now with asbestosis. I never had a problem with it before, and until I had a problem with other things, they did a CAT scan and they found it.
I didn't know what was causing it, but I thought after I retired there that I get a little bit heavier on the middle, I should do some jogging. So I tried to do that, and in about a minute I was right out of breath. But we discovered it kind of accidentally, my doctor and I. Took some x-rays and finally said, there's something we don't like about the pictures of your lungs, so you better do a CAT scan, which we did.
I'm not sure what it's called, but it's like part of a cap that goes over the lung.
Asbestos in Kamenko, all their pipes that had that white covering was nothing but asbestos, which was a form of silicosis. And the people that pulled that stuff off all came down with asbestos. And it was a hematoma of the lung, which is what we called it, because it was a cancer of the membranes of the lung tissue itself. Not of the lung, but of the lung tissue.
I was diagnosed with asbestosis in my lungs. I have on both sides, but my left side is worse than the right side. And I go to Kelowna every 6-7 weeks for treatment.
I could feel something coming on because I was getting short of breath no matter what I was doing, but I didn't know what it was until I had x-rays taken.
And how's this changed your retirement?
Oh. Instead of going out doing stuff, you're sitting at home all the time. You can't leave the house. Can't pack nothing. You can't walk, 100 yards and you're shot. Where before my younger days, you're hunting and fishing on the go all the time, and you can't do that no more.
Now, I can't do much anymore. There's nothing they can do about it, really. I used to play, last year I played golf and every day of the week, Monday to Friday, all year, never missed a day. This year I hit 10 golf balls and had to quit because I didn't have the strength and or the ambition to really do it. And there's lots of stuff. My hunting, I won't be able to go out this year. It's too dangerous. I get out there and something happens. It just puts too much pressure on the other guys, so I got to stay home. I got a wife that's quadriplegic, actually. I have to look after her, and makes it hard when you run out of breath and you can't breathe. You got to sit down and rest all the time.
It affected me, plus my wife being disabled a little bit. I couldn't help her as much as I should have, so.
The way I'm wasting away, I've lost about 50 pounds in the last 4 months. They're trying to figure out what's wrong, but I think it's just the lungs are shot.
But I went through chemo, which is a real drag on your system. I like going to hockey games, watching hockey in winter. Well, last winter I couldn't leave the house because of chemo, because when you're on chemo you can't associate with other people because you pick up germs that real easy and you have no defense. And it's just really threw a screw into the whole system.
They inject some stuff inside on my left side because they freeze this side, will help the pain.
It doesn't help you breathe, but it helps the pain.
It helps the pain. And when the medication wears out, you have to go back again. And I don't know how long I can do this.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder as the time goes on.
Yeah. And your quality of life?
The quality of life is not good because you live with asbestos. You worry. You worry interferes with your sleep. You get up at 2-3 times a night. You're short of breath, and you go for a walk. You go up the hill. You have to stop, sit down. It's not good.
No, it's very difficult.
Very difficult to do it. And I noticed with me is the time is going since '93. It's worse.